Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I have a few questions. Can I analyze the Gabi DeMartino incident? Was she guilty of a crime or wrongdoing? And what state of mind could contribute to behavior like this? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll take a look at the background of DeMartino, and then I'll move to my analysis of this incident. Gabi DeMartino is a social media influencer who was born in 1995. Her YouTube channel has over 3.2 million subscribers. She also has another channel with her sister Nikki that has almost 10 million subscribers. I believe she is supposed to be some type of singer and actress, but from the samples of videos that I watched, no talent was immediately evident. Her videos seem to fall in three basic categories. First, videos featuring people who dislike her for being famous and rich, or discussions about those people. For example, we see titles like, "I was called ugly at the nail salon by an employee," and "One of my haters was working the Starbucks drive-thru." The second category would be updates on her life. For example, the reveal of my new nose 1 week after nose job, and "We caught a man living in our yard." The third category would be these 24-hour challenges, where simply existing for 24 hours is somehow a noteworthy accomplishment. We see titles like 24-hour overnight challenge with a possessed doll, and "I spent the night in my sister's house and she had no idea." The channel she shares with her sister seems to be more focused on fashion and comparisons between them along different dimensions. In late November, early December 2020, DeMartino ran into some difficulties. In addition to her YouTube channel and other social media accounts, she has an OnlyFans account. Usually these accounts involve adult content, but they don't have to. A creator can publish whatever content they want on there. Her account was set up so that a user would pay a monthly fee, I guess for certain content, and then pay extra fees for special content she would release from time to time. My understanding of what was on her account prior to this incident is that she had some sexually suggestive content that didn't necessarily go to an extreme. It was not explicit. So this brings us to the incident. DeMartino offered a 35-second video for $3. There is no real preview, just a blurred image, so the users didn't know what was in the video. They would have to pay the $3 to find out. Now there was a caption with the video. It read, "Won't put my panties on." This is important because it led the users to believe that she would be revealing something more than she had in the past, like this was an escalation toward more explicit content. When the users purchased the video, what they found was a video featuring DeMartino as a toddler. Evidently, in this video, she lifted up her skirt and there was no clothing underneath. It would appear this video was recorded by one of her family members. Of course, there was an immediate outrage because of her behavior. Many suggested she had led users to unwittingly purchase child pornography, which I will refer to as CP. Possessing CP is a felony. In some places like Pennsylvania, where DeMartino lives, even viewing CP is a felony, although the users in this case, of course, did not appear to have any criminal intent. Rather, they were tricked into buying the content. DeMartino put her fans in a terrible position. Not that I think being on her OnlyFans in the first place was consistent with good judgment, but they certainly didn't expect that. DeMartino took the content down, and OnlyFans deactivated her account. Initially, her level of remorse did not seem to be too high. She said, "Drama channels are trying to make something out of a childhood video of me. That's hilarious. They're reaching." As people continued to express disgust and concern, DeMartino changed her story. She said, "I'm sorry, I didn't think that one through." Then, of course, we see the inevitable apology video posted on her YouTube channel. The title of the video was "This Needs to be Addressed." It's just under 2 minutes long. Here's a summary of that video. She starts with a trigger warning. She said that her lack of judgment has led to a serious issue. She talked about how she was watching home videos with her family and came across the video in question. She thought it would be nice to share with a funny caption, although she now realizes the caption was not humorous. She said never in a million years did she think something she thought was so innocent could be looked at in an ugly way. If she had stopped at the word think, that would have been an accurate statement. She suggested that she was detached from reality and could not see how something like this could be viewed. She goes on to say that she's sorry and suggests her behavior is indicative of a lack of character and judgment. At first glance, this apology video does appear to be better than many I have seen. It's short, and of course that's a mercy. She said that she was truly sorry. She will reflect and do better. All those are good too. The difficulty is that she tried to explain away the bad behavior, making it seem like she was just too naive and or gullible to know that what she was doing was a horrible idea. This reminds me of the legal terminology knew or should have known. She's claiming she didn't know, but she should have known. It was her responsibility to learn the laws of the land. Also, there's a common sense element to all of this. How did she ever believe for a second that her behavior was justified? This brings us to the questions, was she guilty of a crime, and was she guilty of moral wrongdoing, which of course are two different standards. So an important note here, DeMartino has not been charged with any crime at the time I'm making this video, and I would be surprised if she ever was. There are two possible scenarios in the unlikely event she is charged with a crime, one being the federal government pursues charges against her, and the other would be the state of Pennsylvania. The laws in those different jurisdictions are a bit different. Pennsylvania is actually a bit stricter in the sense that, as I mentioned, just viewing CP is a felony in that state. Because her viewing the image is not an issue here, I will focus on the federal point of view. CP is a visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct involving a minor. Sexual activity is not required to meet that standard, but the content would normally have to be sexually suggestive. Production, distribution, reception, and possession are all illegal, and of course in this instance, if her video was considered CP, even though she didn't produce it, she did distribute, receive, and possess it. So moving back to the question, was this a crime? I don't think the video was meant to be suggestive. It didn't really have a sexual context. Even considering she appeared to trick users into downloading it by implying it was suggestive, I think this would be a tough case to prosecute without clearly establishing the content was CP. So what about the moral question? Was her behavior morally wrong? I think clearly it was. Any reasonable person would have known that even viewing this, much less receiving, possessing, and distributing it, is not consistent with moral codes. Some have made the argument that the image that DeMartino revealed was of herself, therefore there was no victim. That's an interesting point, but tricking other people into paying for it and viewing it is creating victims. Plus, just having the material out there encourages offenders to engage in criminal activity. Then moving to the last question, what state of mind can lead to this behavior? What could somebody in DeMartino's situation have been thinking? Unfortunately, DeMartino is not the first person to make bad decisions like these. Increasingly, there are a number of cases where people create and distribute CP and don't seem to fully recognize what they're doing. For example, a 17-year-old female who sends a suggestive picture to her boyfriend. Certainly that activity was not the original target of CP laws, but the girlfriend and the boyfriend in this scenario could be arrested and convicted. Some people who get prosecuted under these laws probably didn't intend to create and distribute CP. I think the mental state that often leads to the seemingly unwitting participation in activities like what we see in this case with DeMartino would be immaturity and impulsivity. With DeMartino, perhaps this is another example of too much fame, too much power, too much attention, combined with being too young. She's under pressure to engage fans with increasingly risky maneuvers. Someone like this can get lost in a fantasy world, a world without consequences. I think a case like this also speaks to how easy it is these days to create and distribute videos. Influencers are always recording themselves, saying different things, doing different things, and with just a click of a button, their behavior can be visible to the whole world. I think that these modern times have increased the penalties for being impulsive. For example, it used to be if somebody wanted to buy something, they'd have to make their way to a store, enter the store, select the item, carry it to a register, pay for it. There were a lot of steps. Now, one click on a smartphone would do the same thing. Even still, DeMartino must adjust to the times and regulate her behavior. Another thing that occurred to me was the fact that she had all these videos on YouTube where people are out to get her. They hate her, they have malicious intent, they are envious of her. I don't know if that's just for the videos or if that's how she really is, but it's consistent with a mentality where somebody is going to push away the advice of others. They view others as inferior and, again, kind of wanting to be like them. I think this whole philosophy promoted by her channel is problematic. This whole look at me, I'm great simply for existing. When I perform a mundane task, it's amazing. Somehow I'm special, even though there is no logical reason to believe that. The danger is that somebody in DeMartino's position can actually believe that all it takes to be special is turning on a camera. DeMartino has now become one of the many anti-role models in the world of influencers. The only positive in this case is maybe future influencers can learn from her mistakes. Those are my thoughts on the Gabi DeMartino incident. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis on this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.